Hello, so today I'm going to paint this little barn here in this wooded area. It's going to be a little tricky with the angle and everything because of the way the sun is. I'm painting this almost front lit, and I have to cover up my canvas and easel with a umbrella. And also keep this at a angle where you guys can see it. Where I'm not blocking your view, so hopefully I won't be blocking your view. Painting along Route 30, so I apologize, there's going to be a lot of traffic, but unfortunately I can't. I have no control over where they built the roads and where they built these really neat structures. And it's a beautiful spring day. First thing I want to get in, as with any architecture, is the drawing. My horizon line's right about there. And by the way, the colors I'm using: titanium white, cadmium yellow light, cadmium orange, yellow ochre, transparent red oxide, cadmium red, alizarin crimson, ultramarine blue, cobalt blue, viridian, and chromium green oxide. If you're interested in the brands of paint I use, check out my blog, mysketchjournal.com. There's a link below where you can see, where you can go there and check out the materials I use and everything. Right now I'm just using some excuse me, transparent red oxide and ultramarine blue to create a somewhat neutral tone to block in just these main shapes. The sun's going to swing over this way more, so I'm going to want to get this shadow side in while I still can. And there's a window further this way. I'm going to bump it over here a little bit more. And with old architecture like this, don't be afraid to move things around to make it more interesting. You know, unless you're painting something really popular and well known, nobody's ever going to come back and look at it. And this structure's been here for a number of years, and I'm sure it'll continue to be here for a while, but at some point it's going to fall down. Sadly, but true. I'm going to switch to a bigger brush. You can see I'm keeping my paint pretty thin right now. There's some bushes that come down here. Now above the roof here, especially over here, there's all kinds of things going on, little branches and trunks and things like that. I'm not going to worry about getting everything in there as it is. I'd be out here all day trying to do it, and it's not my objective anyway. So I'm going to simplify this back here. Just laying down a wash, a tone. You have to ask yourself, when you're out here and you have a very limited time frame within the work, especially on a sunny day when the sun's constantly moving, you have to ask yourself, what's important? What do I really need to get to make a statement? And capturing all this business up in here, if I have time to do some of it, I will, but I really want to get what's going on down over in here first. So next, I want to solidify my darkest darks. That's going to be my value that I'm going to work off of. And I'm going to mix a black from transparent red oxide. You could also use burnt sienna. They're very close in color. Transparent red oxide, alizarin permanent, and ultramarine blue. Being that those darks are near black, once I get that value in there, I can use that value to measure everything else off of. So, as I said before, and as I tell my students in my online painting classes, get the obvious thing down first, and then you can use what's obvious to measure what's more ambiguous. As we move up here, this is probably our next lightest color. That and up in here. But it's not quite as dark as what's in here. There's more color up there. And so you can kind of move into things and move into more subtle values. Engage those off of your more obvious ones. That went a little too far out with that. So this is a cool shadow side of the barn, and it is red, like the front of the barn, but it's got a lot more cool to it. Now, as it moves up closer to the shadow area, it starts to get a darker, more intense red. Down here, it's some more of a washed out red. There's probably two reasons for that. Number one, as it gets further down and away from the shadow that this is creating, it's going to pick up more of the cool skylight. But also, it probably just got more weathered here because it's not as protected from the rain and that as what's up here. I think I'm going to do the front lit side, the sunlit side next. I mentioned my workshops a few minutes ago. If you're interested in studying under me, I teach live online oil painting classes. We do it through Zoom. We meet almost every Saturday. And I'm in the process of setting up a membership site where if you join, you'll get access to the video recordings of the past classes, as well as recordings of the classes that you'd be a member of. The students really like the recordings because they can go back and catch things they missed. And just not everybody can make the class on a particular day. But we don't paint nearly this fast. We take a painting from start to finish over a 4-week period, and I tell you everything that I know about it and guide you through it. You can ask me questions during the live session. We also have a live Q&A session where you could submit any of your artwork you want to get feedback on. That's kind of become a lot of people's one of their favorite things about it. Seating is limited. If you're interested, click on the link below, and that'll take you to where you can sign up on the waiting list. And when a spot becomes open, I will let you know. And it's good for all levels. Some people ask, well, if I'm just starting out, can I do it? Absolutely. Have a number of beginners. And what's nice for the beginners is they really like the recordings because sometimes at the class we do have to go at a certain pace, but they get to go back and watch the recordings again and again, and also get feedback on their painting from me. So go check it out. I think you'd really like it. The students I have really like it. Spots don't come open very often, but when they do, those on the list, they get informed on it. I'm going to paint the facade of the structure a little darker than what I'm seeing it. So I have a feeling if I keep going with the values I'm going, it's just going to end up looking too washed out. And I'm still trying to keep the paint relatively thin here. Really just want to get all this white covered up. I think it's going to help me gauge everything better. Now the trees coming up here, they look slightly on the greenish side to me. So I'm going to take some yellow ochre and some little chromium green oxide and viridian. That might be too green. Let's go with a little blue in there. And as I'm thinking about it, what's probably going to happen is the sun's going to keep going this way, and it's probably going to start casting these tree shadows over here and this tree shadow over there. That might be a cool effect. So if I'm out here long enough for that to happen, I'm going to have to keep that in mind. It's always good when you're doing this to know, which direction the sun's going to go. You could even bring a compass out to help you gauge that. Now with all this covered, I want to go back in and strengthen those darks more on the shadow side of this barn. Yeah, I can actually see some of the cast shadow creeping in right down there. Now, this part of the, can't remember what these are called up here, if it's an eave or something, but it's part of the roof. This part right here is covered in shadow right now. However, if I choose to paint the cast shadows of the tree over here, this is going to end up in sunlight, and then this part's going to have a little bit covered up there. So while that's in shadow right now, I might want to leave that alone and make that determination later, just so I'm consistent with my lighting. there's a house along the road, and I'm not sure if anyone lives there or not. It looks really abandoned. And many years ago I painted this structure, but from a different angle and a little bit later in the season, when there was a little more growth on the trees and that. And I always wonder if somebody's going to come out and yell at me, but so far so good. I did knock on the door many years ago. Nobody answered, and this time there's no cars there. I've been by this place many times and never saw any cars here. So I mean, somebody's obviously got to own it, but they obviously must not live here, or they're very, very secluded. Well, now we got a helicopter flying overhead. All we need is a train and we're set. Don't think there are any train tracks close by, thank goodness, or it'd probably happen. Palette knife is a great tool for a lot of things I mentioned earlier, for foliage, but also for architecture. You can pull down and get some nice kind of random textures and things like that. And especially if you want to keep things nice and sharp, it's wonderful for sharp edges. It's a board leaning against there. Going slightly darker with it. I guess that was put there to keep the door shut. I wonder how long ago. I'm obviously painting this in 2020, but sometimes with these old structures, you know, you wonder when the last time was they were used. Somebody, some old farmer, you know, when he decided to move out, maybe he passed away, and the rest of the family, the kids or whatever, just didn't want to be farmers, weren't farmers, whatever, and so they just put up that thing and walked away from it, and who knows what after that. It's always kind of interesting wondering what the stories are. I'm wondering what it was like when somebody was coming here, and I think this is a chicken coop, you know, and they're feeding the chickens, and for how many years they did that, when the structure was built. We're very close to Gettysburg, where the battle happened, and there's a lot of signs around here talking about how different Confederate or Union generals moved through the area. So you wonder, was this built around that time? Did some soldiers come in and steal some eggs or something like that? Probably a lot of neat stories that we'll never know. But it's fun to imagine. I do historical Native American work. That's kind of my main studio work that I do. I do this to keep me fresh, because I still have to do a lot of landscape painting with my Native American work, but there's stories with that too. Pretty much anything you paint can have a story to it, and your job is to capture that story and communicate it as best you can, and with your own voice. Big tractors on Route 30 now, slowing everybody up, or down, however you say it. Now in the shadow there's a slight cooling, so I'm going to go in with a little bit of cobalt and a touch of white and mix it in with that shadow mixture that I just put up here. Might be a little too blue. Okay, so something neat is happening over here that I didn't anticipate. I maybe should have, but I like these streaks of light that are coming down here. I have to get a little brush with a little more body to it. So I think I'm going to do that. In fact, I rephotographed the barn And I'm going to use that as the primary reference that I'll show you guys rather than the one that I had originally thought of using when this is all in shadow. And as I anticipated, we're starting to get the light color of the of whatever that thing is called. Feel free to comment below if you know what the heck these things up here are called. But it's starting to move over just as I thought it would. Also, I don't think I mentioned this, but if you could do me a big favor, if you haven't yet already done so, if you could subscribe and give me a like, because YouTube likes. In other words, they'll show this video to more people, and it supports the channel, encourages me to make more videos. So that would be awesome if you could do that. If you don't like the video, feel free to give it a thumbs down. It's a free country, so you can certainly do that. Or you could just not watch it. Hopefully you like it. And feel free to comment below. If you watch one of my earlier plein air videos, you probably hear the music that people comment that they don't like. So I stopped doing the music. Because we are all about service here. However, I won't give you a free painting lesson on the YouTube comment section. But if you have questions about materials and things like that, or just a quick question, go ahead and comment, and I'll be more than happy to give you my thoughts. Okay, so the shadow has swung over quite a bit, and same with this one. I think now is the time to get him in. They say you should not chase the light when you're plein air painting, and that's definitely true, but you can, you know, if you see some things that happen that look better, then don't be afraid to stick it in. It's not like the chase the light police are going to come hunt you down and throw you in jail over that. Okay, so I'm not sure how much more of this I'm going to be able to show you. I might have to finish this off camera because my camera just overheated. It didn't overheat like it got wrecked, but it shut off on its own, and it flashed a message on the screen that it was getting to dangerously high levels. It is not hot out today, but the camera is in the sun. I do have it covered, so it's not completely in the sun, but these, I researched a while back, and like I said, these digital SLRs just are not made really for video recording anything outdoors. They're pretty unreliable from what I see. So I'm going to have to research and try to find another solution that's not going to break the bank, because I don't get paid doing this, at least not yet. And I'd like to keep making these videos, but I need to feed my family too. So hopefully I'll go as long as I can, but the final result might be a bit more finished than what you're going to see here, depending on how my camera holds out. So I apologize for that, but there's just a lot of things that go into recording yourself painting outside. Not too many artists do it without having like a, you know, big publisher or something like that out there with them setting up all this nice camera equipment. I'm just one guy, just an artist out doing this on my own without any financial support or anything like that. So, except for people who take my workshops and when paintings sell. So some people told me to set up Patreon, but at this point I don't know if that would make any difference whatsoever. Not too many people who watch even contribute to a Patreon account, so I don't even know if it's worth my time to set that up. It would be cool though, I could get another camera. Hoping someday. I'm not at the point of monetization yet. Maybe by the time you see this I will be, but even that doesn't make you much money from what I've been told. So I'm still pre-monetization as I do this video here. I always get a kick out of when I've had a couple people comment, can you please redo the video and do this and this and that? And it's like, no, I'm doing this for free, so I can gladly try to give it and offer information, but I don't redo videos on request. And if you're the person who asked me that I was watching, I apologize, but it's just not a reasonable request, and I tend to say it like it is. So Actually, I don't like that. I don't like how that lines up with the with that board there. I didn't paint it exactly like it is. Draw it correctly. That's a little better. Now around here, there's some slightly cooler, more faded wood that goes around this window. And pretty happy with this. I think it's starting to take shape. Yeah, I actually put with my camera, I put a cool pack thing around it where I wrapped it around it before I started painting. It's one of those things you stick on your arm if you get an injury or something like that, hoping that that would keep it cool. And the coolant stuff inside, oh, that just thawed out like in a heartbeat. So much for that idea. But if you're watching this close to the date, the time this is posted, if you have any ideas, of course, I might have to get something before I even post this on YouTube. So say if you have any ideas on good, reasonably priced camcorder type things a person can get, let me know down below in the comment section. But who knows, by the time you comment, I might already have it all figured out. But you can comment anyway. But even if I have to stop here soon, hopefully you've seen enough, because right now after this it's just putting in a bunch of details and things like that. And the details are not hard. What's hard is getting your value relationships correct, and I think I've done a pretty good job of that. Alright, so I'm going to punch this up here a little bit more. Okay, now at this point I'm really squinting at the scene because I want to, when I look at it, I want to visualize the whole thing. And squinting really helps you to get an impression of the entire scene. And then when you look at your painting, it can really help you to see if your impression of it is correct or if there's anything that's out of whack. Now back here there's this old concrete that's all dilapidated, that's over on the side here. And I could obsess about that, but I'm not going to, because, well, my main concern is my camera overheating right now. But I don't need that in there for the statement of this barn being in, basically the statement is the barn. Sorry, I can't talk too well right now. And that's what I want the viewer to see. So all this business back here, just need to give us a quick suggestion of it, and that's it. Also, when I want to paint faster, I pull out the palette knife because it just puts me in this quicker mentality of painting. Okay, so gave the camera another break. Back in. Also had to get a little more transparent red oxide on the palette, so it's pretty much palette. Wow, just for a moment it's nice and peaceful here. Somebody was running some machine. I didn't even notice it, but they just shut it off. And there's no traffic going by right now. That's about to change. Just love those moments. I'm seeing more and more shadows, fuzzy cast shadows emerging on the facade of this structure. I don't want to chase these shadows. This one's moved over even more and it's really nice, but it's more out like this. I could maybe chase it a little bit. But I gotta be careful. If you do chase, just make sure it's more for composition than anything else. Okay, somebody else just turned on the machine and it's loud and annoying. It's a shame they built these beautiful structures by all this traffic. I think that adds a little more interest to the scene there. Now some of the sky is showing through back there. So I might take some cobalt blue, touch of iridium, and white. And I'm really trying to squint at the scene to gauge its value, because if I look at just the sky holes themselves between the trees, they look pretty light, but when I squint at the overall scene, they're not sticking out as much as I think when I look at the individual sky holes. So it's always important to gauge your values in relation to others. I gotta be careful with this from a compositional point of view too. I don't want these things to dominate too much. Part of me even wonders if I should have them in, but here we go. like that. Like that. So I think I'm on the home run stretch here. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up below. Hopefully you liked it. And if you have any questions or comments, leave them below. And I will do my best to answer. And also, if you want to do my live online painting classes, click on the link below in the description. That will take you to where you can sign up on the waiting list. And when a spot comes open, I'll let you know. I do a lot more talking on the live classes than I do here, because here I'm painting like a mad dog, trying to get it done for numerous reasons: overheating cameras, light changing, all that fun stuff. Noisy tractor trailers that drive by. We don't have that in the live session, or in my studio sessions, of course. That'd be great to have you there. Like I said, I'm probably going to have to end this and do a little more touch up on my own because of the technical issues I'm having with the camera. By the way, that doesn't happen in the studio during the live sessions. It only happens out here because I'm in the outdoors with the sun beating down on my equipment. I have different equipment in the studio that I can't bring outside, so wish I could bring it outside, but it requires being plugged in.